Hi everyone, so this is the last one in our series of different types of observations that you can use in family daycare. So I've got my little list here in front of me, so excuse me. So what we've covered off already, so if you haven't gone through all of these, and you don't need to, whatever works for you. So what we've covered off already is the different types of observations that you can be using in your family daycare program or service, or again, your language. Anecdotal observations, children's artwork, construction, all that sort of stuff, videos, photos, recordings, progress notes, running records, social matrices, and now we are talking about checklists. Now checklists, and I said this right back, so if you've watched all the videos, you'll get this. I reckon between anecdotal records and checklists, you can come up with a really robust program. So everything that's in between the first video and the last video, they are really good and they really serve a purpose, and depending on the circumstances, they're robust ways of gathering documentation and evidence on children and those sorts of things. And you will build your skills as you go, depending on how skilled you are as taking observations and those sorts of things. But anyway, checklists I do, no matter if a child comes in brand new, always do a checklist in my opinion. In all the services I've always ran, every brand new child upon enrolment, they get a checklist. And that gives you an idea on, and I just use the sequel one. I'm going to pop links in here. It's really easy. It just tells you, like at a certain age, what certain behaviours, and it breaks it down into the developmental domains, your physical, your social, all that sort of stuff. So it breaks it all down for you. So you get a really good idea of what development should look like. So if you've got a 3-year-old child that's not walking, then that's, you know what I mean without being very explicit. So it gives you really good developmental milestones that at certain ages children should be meeting. Now that doesn't mean to say that they might be a little bit under that age range or a little bit over that age range when they develop a certain milestone, but you still want children to be developing those milestones, because as human development goes, we know that it grows like that, so that if it grows like that and we've got some fine motor stuff going on, then we know where that is. So that's what we want to be looking at. We want to be looking at the development of humans and where that sits. So by doing a checklist when they first enroll, you can say, okay, I've got a 2-year-old, they can jump with 2 feet, they can follow 2 instructions, yep, everything's great. And then you might do that again 6 months later, and you might say, okay, you know what, they were jumping with 2 feet, but now they're not jumping with 2 feet. So wonder what's going on there. Let's have a look at that. And then that's where your other record taking would come in place. So your checklist is like I suppose it's like a check. It's like a checkpoint even. So it just gives you an idea of where children are based on human development milestones, based on the norm, and I don't want to create an argument and get any feedback around that. It's just about creating that spot in your mind where you go, yep, everything's okay with this child. I don't have to worry too much. Yep, everything's okay with this one. You know what? Maybe I need to have a look at this one. So that's all it creates, is that. So do checklists. And again, I said this earlier, I think I said it in the first video, with checklists, the younger the child, the more frequent the checklist, in my opinion, and that's how I would do it. So if I had like a baby come to me, I would probably be doing one, depending on the age, but I would be doing one every 2 to 3 months, depending on the baby. Particularly under 3s, you would want to be doing them kind of a little bit more frequently. Children over 3, you might do them, children over between 3 and 5, let's say, you might do one every 6 months or whatever that is. Children over 5, you might do one every year, and those sorts of things. The teachers in the schools would have a whole range of developmental milestone records and, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so the younger the child, the more frequent checklists, the older the child, the less frequent checklists. And these are really, you just, you can sit down, you can do that while you're with the children even, just grab one checklist out a day or a week or whatever, and just go through and say, yeah. Now, the trick with checklists, it will say things like, let's just go physical development. It will say things like, okay, so a 2-year-old physically can jump with 2 feet. They can go up and down stairs 2 feet at a time per step. They don't go step, 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 step. They go step, 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 step. So, so once you look at that, the checklists really help you understand human development. overall, number one. But checklists are also, if you've got a child and you've done the checklist and they've started with you, and then 3 months later you do the second checklist and there's some things that you go, you know what, I just haven't seen it. So the second time, that is what you use, your gaps in what you've witnessed or your gaps in what you've seen or whatever it is that looks like, that is your program. So your example is, you've got a 2-year-old, you haven't seen that child walk up steps one at a time, or what would, you know, so there might be some things in there. Okay, so what you do then, you put steps in your program. So you might say, okay, there's a local park down the road and it's got an overpass, so I might take them down for a walk just to have a look. So you create an environment, a learning environment that helps you identify those milestones in children, so that you know what's going on. Yeah, it's kind of like plugging the gap, I suppose, is the way that I see checklists. It just helps you sort of capture things really quickly, and it helps you identify gaps in your program. So if you haven't seen children running or hopping or sharing or playing alongside others, then that's an opportunity for you to sit back and have a look at your program and say, well, maybe I'm not providing all the opportunities that I should. So it's really good on both levels. So it helps you identify where the child is developmentally, and it also helps you identify where there are any gaps potentially in your program. So checklists are great. Again, I'm going to put all the links in here for you. So I'm going to just put the ASEQA milestone checklist in here. Download that. If you need to get in touch, or if there's any other resources that you need, any links that you will require are all in here. So good luck with your programs. This is the last in our series now. So I probably will do one more to follow up on this, which will be around your reflection and getting all that data together, and what that means for you once you've gathered all this data, and how we can reflect on that, what we can learn from, those sorts of things. So so we've done all of our different types of observations. So hopefully you found all of these useful, and keep watching. I'll be around. So again, any questions, feel free to get in touch. See you soon. Bye.